Hello, my name's Kathy Bissell. Welcome to the Golf Show 2.0. Our guest this week is an amazing NFL great. He's in the Hall of Fame and is a Heisman Trophy winner. Gary, why don't you introduce him?
Well, you can see on the screen, he doesn't even need a last name. He's a one-name star. Tim Brown, NFL Hall of Fame, College Hall of Fame, the Woodrow Wilson High School Hall of Fame, which is a big one. It's got another Heisman Trophy winner in it. And I know this has been asked before, Tim. You've told the story, but when you were in high school, your mom didn't want you playing football. You were in the band, and you somehow wound up on the football team, and your mom found out only because the band director called her up and said, "Hey, Tim's not at practice. What happened?" Well, what instrument did you play, and how did you sneak onto the football team?
Yeah, so I was a percussionist. I played the drums and the bass drums, the snare drums, and things of that nature is what I was playing. And yeah, my mom knew my freshman year I was in a marching band, so I was going to games to march, at halftime or whatever. And so my sophomore year, I had made the varsity team, so I was, obviously going to the games, and so my schedule was pretty much the same. And I had a really great beginning of my sophomore season, and I was named sophomore sensation or something like that. And I ended up in the paper. And one of my mom's friends called her and said, "Your son is in the paper." So she's looking through the life section and then, trying to find, what did you do? What did you do? And I was like, "Mom, you may want to look in the sports section." And so she did that, found the high school section, and my picture was right there. And she was almost madder about that than anything else. So she's a very religious woman and just thought sports and football was the devil's workshop and wanted really nothing for me to do. Didn't want me to have anything to do with it. So
How did you talk her into it?
my dad, thank God, my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what he did, what he said, what he gave up, but it worked. So
Okay.
Well, in case you're wondering why we have an NFL great wide receiver, and by the way, I just thought you were one of the most exciting players to watch. The three guys off the top of my head I thought were the most exciting players were probably Deion Sanders, Wes Chandler, and Tim Brown.
wow.
A lot of great players in the NFL, but your first kickoff, first time you touched the ball in the NFL, you took it back 97 yards for a touchdown.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that was a big moment for me for sure. The background on that is the first time I touched the ball in college, I fumbled the open kickoff. So that was quite the turnaround. But it was a big day for me because I had a Porsche. I bought a Porsche when I knew I was going to get drafted. And James Lofton had told me, "Hey man, you can't bring that Porsche to LA. You haven't done a doggone thing. These veterans are driving Pontiac Grand Ams around here. So you can't bring." So in the middle of the game, when I returned that kick, he came up to me and said, "You can bring that Porsche to California now. These boys can't say anything. You don't score a touchdown in the NFL. You get to go now." So
that's funny. I was a newspaper guy in Milwaukee in the 80s, and I covered the Packers, and that fellow Lofton was pretty darn good.
No doubt.
So we're talking football, but the reason you're on is this is a golf show. You're playing in the American Century Championship, July 12th to 14th. It'll be on NBC out in Lake Tahoe. They've raised over $8 million or close to $8 million for charity over the years. Tell us about your golf game. How did you start, and how did you wind up starting to play in this tournament every year?
Yeah, I really started playing because I injured my knee my second year in the league. I used to play a lot of tennis and basketball, and the Raiders were, they would allow me to play basketball, but they wanted no parts of me playing tennis anymore. So I had been asked about golf for years, and finally, I think I was 26, 27. And I finally decided to take the sport up and immediately fell in love because of the difficulty of the game. And, 1 minute you think you have it and the next minute you don't have it. You know what I mean? So, so we've been playing for a while. I think this is going to be my 22nd, 23rd year playing in the American Century event, and looking forward to it.
Did you have any nerves the first time you played in front of a crowd like that?
It was a little bit different, I mean, in football, you obviously play in front of a lot of people, but I knew exactly what I could do on the football field. I didn't know once that club got back here, guys, I didn't know what was going to happen after that sometimes. So yeah, I mean, the nerves is all about, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to, so I'm past that now. I think I can, I may not hit it in the fairway, but I'm not going to hit anybody, so off the tee.
Did you take lessons, or did you just learn from friends, or how did
Yeah,
you go?
Kathy, I think I got bad advice actually early on because, being an athlete, and lifting weights and doing all that kind of stuff, the ability for us to turn the way, you need to turn on a golf shot is really not there at times, so everybody say, hey, man, you're a great athlete, see ball, hit ball, right? And find the ball and hit it again, And that's basically, what I had. And I had a lot of success. I shot 2 under a couple of times, so, shoot even par, I mean, so I got, relatively good at this game. But the older I've gotten, I think I realized the more I need, some solid background, in my let's. So I've been very fortunate. I don't know if you know Bill. He is the guy who helps out Wai Yang. And so he has a facility here in Dallas. And so I've been able to go and work with him. And he's really changed everything about my game. I mean, from me putting left hand low to going back to conventional putting, and he's changed everything. So yeah, it's been very interesting. I sort of wish I would have done it before, but at the same time, I think doing it now is the right time for me. So.
I would wonder if, as a football player with all of your muscles and everything, if that restricts your flexibility in terms of
without
turning.
a doubt it does. Without a doubt it does. Yeah.
But I have no doubt that you could hit it, because of your strength, you would be able to power through the ball and move from right to left. I'm assuming you're right-handed. I shouldn't have assumed that. But right to left.
I am. Yeah. I mean, look, I can hit a 300-yard drive every blue moon, you know what I mean? But, so that's when everything is right. But, so yeah, that part of it is not my problem. I think, some of the simplicities that Bill has given me about this game, how to even think about certain shots has really helped me, on the course, so.
Yes, you have to make
decisions. It's not about hitting the ball. It's about getting the ball in the hole.
Yes.
The most boring thing to practice is chipping and pitching. But it's the most important, because if you and I don't chip it inside of 6 feet, we're not making the putt. So it's tedious. We want to have fun. We want to go play. We don't want to go practice chipping for half an hour every day for a week. That would make a difference, but it's a drag. We want to go out and play golf and obviously take money off our friends.
Right. Well, that's the only reason why we do this, right? So but, look, I mean, this American Century event, I have one goal and one goal only, and that's to beat the great Jerry Rice. If I beat Jerry Rice, I am happy. I don't care if I'm 89th and he's 90th. As long as I'm in front of him, I am happy, right? So, and we don't, when we played together in Oakland, we never put money up because the bragging rights was enough for the fella to have to deal with all week, knowing that I could say, hey, I beat Jerry last Tuesday on the golf course. So it's not about money with us, but at the same time, you can bet that we will be checking each other's scorecard after the rounds.
Were you guys competitive on the field like that too?
No, I think, man, what we realized after, playing one game together is we could have played together. And a lot of people thought we were going to clash because we were the men on each of our teams, but we're totally different guys. I like to say Jerry is that pretty wide receiver out there with the long towels and the socks that cover his knees and, looking all nice and cute out there, and I'm the guy with the big shoulder pads, you know what I mean? Could care less what I look like, banging into the linebackers and safeties the whole time, So we just had a different way of playing the game, man, and literally could have played our whole careers together. And I think neither one of us would have, I think we averaged between each other 94 catches a year or something like that when we played together. So I think we would have been okay.
I think you would have. I think people would have been afraid to play against you with both of you on the team. That would be
Who are they going to double cover? They can't.
That's exactly right. That's exactly. Well, we were having a really good year the year we went to the Super Bowl, and what ended up happening that our third receiver, Jerry Porter, ended up leading the league in touchdowns because they kept trying to double cover us, and JP was having an incredible year.
I was shocked. Go to the open guy.
I was shocked in your NFL Hall of Fame acceptance speech where you mentioned this great trivia. You played with 20 different quarterbacks and caught passes from 19 of them. And then you read off the list of the Raiders quarterbacks over the years. It's like, it's not the Hall of Fame of quarterbacks, and yet you amassed Hall of Fame numbers. So obviously those guys all had pretty good skill levels, but you just had you had to obviously make a lot of adjustments. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I think, Gary, one of the things that I realized really early in my NFL career, and I tell you, man, when I look back on it, one of the best things that happened to me was the year I got injured, because I literally got a chance to sit back and watch professional football players talk, watch, play the game of football, right? And I learned so much, from a mental standpoint of how to play this game. And the one thing I did learn when it came to quarterbacks, not just our quarterbacks, is almost every NFL quarterback, 99% of them, can throw the ball straight down the field 5, 10, and 15 yards. They have no problems doing that. You wouldn't be in the NFL if you can't do that. Everybody's problem is throwing the ball outside the numbers, the 5, 10, 15, the deep passes and all that kind of stuff. People get very inaccurate when it comes to that. Well, I said to myself, well, doggone, Tim, you need to be the receiver running those 5, 10, and 15-yard routes over the middle of the field. Let James Jett, Willie Gault, all these speedsters, let them run down the field, and you be the guy in the middle of the field, because every time a quarterback steps up, he's not stepping up looking for somebody on the sideline. He's looking for somebody in the middle of the field. And every offensive coordinator that we had, I always went to him and said, hey, I want those routes in the middle of the field. And that just really worked out for me.
I live in Pittsburgh. I would vote for you for offensive coordinator for the Steelers right now with that idea. Over the middle, duh.
Yeah, it's a simple game that we make very difficult. That's for sure.
What is
I think it was pretty hard.
Getting back to golf, just tell me, this is a hard question, but what was the single most memorable shot you ever hit in golf? And memorable could be memorably great or memorably horrible, or.
Well, I don't know if you can see this little thing right there.
Yeah.
That I know I may get in trouble for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because I know you're not supposed to promote anything, and I'm not promoting anything. But I got a chance to play Augusta, and I hit a hole-in-one on the par 3 course at Augusta.
Oh wow!
Yay for you!
So they give you this plaque. They give you the plaque, and of course I have the ball. Wonderful. The ball is up there too. Sure. And I also had a hole-in-one at TPC Sawgrass, the Island Hole, a couple of years ago.
That's right.
So my friends tell me, look, man, we know that Heisman and Hall of Fame butts is special. But those 2 little white balls up there that you have from those hole-in-ones are probably the most impressive things you've done from a sports point of view. So
you might be a club of one of people who've made those hole-in-ones at Augusta and at TPC.
Yeah.
You know what, Gary? I have not thought of that, brother. I'm going to do research on that and find out who else has done that. You're right.
Not very many people.
Well, you're going to have to look up the hole-in-ones at TPC, because nobody's going to tell you who made a hole-in-one at Augusta.
That's true. That's true.
In fact,
that's
you might
very
get in
true.
trouble just for asking that question.
Right.
I tried to find out a few years ago. There was a guy who made it was Monday after the Masters. It was media day. They let like 20 media guys play. Somebody hold it from the fairway on 15 for a double eagle, like Saracen did. And there was a writer there. He heard it. He was going to go talk to him. Then he said, nah, forget it. I'm playing golf. I've never been able to find out who it was. I suspect it was somebody who like wasn't supposed to be out there that day or
Right,
playing
right,
under
right,
an
right.
assumed name. So they can't. It's like being the minister who skips church and plays golf and makes a hole in mud. He can't tell anybody. So you get to Augusta, you got to be careful.
No doubt, no doubt about it.
What's been
No doubt
your
about
who are
it.
some of the people you've become friendly with or you've met at playing in the American Century? There's a whole new audience of other sports stars. Have you made some new friends?
Yeah, I think, for us, they always try and put the football players together, initially, and then after that they go by scores. But over the years, some of the basketball players, Carter, he's a good player. I'm drawing a blank on my guy, and he's going to kill me. Played for Miami Heat, the great shooting guard. My
Dwayne
God,
Wade?
I can't believe. What's that?
Not Dwayne Wade.
No, not Wade. He played for the Celtics also. Oh my God, he's the #1 3-point shooter in the history. Well, he was before.
I'm almost a one sport person. If it's
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm just old and I forget stuff.
right, right. So I think the great thing about this, you're playing with hockey players. One year I was playing so well in the tournament, I ended up in a group with Mario Lemieux. I was way over my skis on that one. So, but yeah, so it's an incredible. Pudge Rodriguez is a good friend. I ended up playing with quite a bit there. So yeah, I just think that's the great thing about this tournament. You see all these different athletes and celebrities coming together to play the sport.
And Lake Tahoe is not a bad place to be.
Have you played in pro-ams, the PGA Tour events or senior events?
Yeah, there's an event here in Dallas, the Invited Golf Tournament, and so we play in the pro-am there, and so we end up playing with the pros all weekend there, for that event. So that's a great event. I played in a pro-am down in Houston also, but yeah, I have played in pro-ams over the years. Yes.
Did you pick up any tips or?
It's like Bill tells me. He tells me, Tim, look, YE hits 1,000 balls a day.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? And he was like, and he doesn't hit good shots all the time. So, just enjoy the game, man. Yeah, practice when you can, but you're not dedicated to the game like these guys are. So you have to, in some portion of that competitive brain of yours, relax and just enjoy the game as much as you possibly can.
That's good advice.
I practice a lot because it's hard for me to enjoy the game if I'm playing practice. I've got a certain standard that, I got old, so my standard's down here, but my memory says it's still here. And
no doubt.
I'm still out there practicing and trying to fix my game so I can play better and enjoy it. So what are you doing to keep busy these days besides being America's guest at all these pro-ams?
I have a fuel transport and supply company called 81 Logistics. And so that keeps me pretty busy. There weren't a lot of minority fuel companies out there some 5 or 6 years ago, and had an opportunity with a great relationship with 7-Eleven and great relationship with a group called Keenan Advantage Group up in Canton, Ohio, where the owner of the group was actually the chairman of the board of the Hall of Fame. So with that relationship in place, it was an opportunity to get into business, not doing business with those folks now, but they got us into business.
I watched the Hall of Fame and your Hall of Fame induction speech, and they showed your family, and your 4 kids look like fashion models. They're stunningly gorgeous. So you must have some good genes in that family.
Yeah. What were you saying, Gary? They didn't get all that from me. Is that what you said? But
no, not at all. You're pretty good looking too. But I mean, they should all be fashion models.
I tell you what, they take from their mom, which is a beautiful thing, and I'm happy about that. I married beautiful. I didn't marry pretty. I married beautiful, and she's a great woman too. We just celebrated 27 years, so we're trying to make this thing happen. Yeah.
So have you got your golf game honed to a fine edge for this year's event coming up at Lake Tahoe?
I'm really, really, really looking forward to this. I think the last couple of years I've really struggled with my putting. And, so to get on the green and, get on a par 5 and 2 and 3 or 4 putt, I was struggling that bad. Those greens up there can get pretty fast. But, going back to conventional, I've really, my last 4 or 5 rounds, I've shot in the 70s, and my putting has been a addition to my game, not a subtraction. So, I think for me, it's always about keeping the ball in play off the tee. And if I can do that, I mean, I'm going to be putting for par, most of the time, even if it's a 20-foot putt. I feel as if I can 2-putt, almost any time, and just stay away from the double bogeys. That's what you got to do there. If you can stay away from double bogeys, you can play good golf. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I think this is going to be a really good year for me.
Well, for a guy who got discovered by Notre Dame when they were actually recruiting somebody on the other team in high school,
right?
And your high school team record, I think you said was 4-25-1.
That's correct. I worked hard for that one, so I worked hard for that one, Garrett.
That's half a win. What a career, what a life, what a family. Thanks for being on here today, and really enjoy the American family. That's insurance. American Century Championship in Lake Tahoe.
Yes.
It's great to talk to Tim Brown today. Thank you, Tim.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate the time. This was great.